The dusty winds of the outer frontier howled across the small human outpost, stirring fine red sand over the jagged rocks. In a modest workshop built from salvaged metal and old starship parts, Liam bent over the hull of a freighter, his hands greasy and steady. The hum of machinery and the clank of metal tools filled the air, blending with the occasional roar of engines from ships landing or taking off. Life on the edge of human space was quiet, mostly lonely, but Liam had always found comfort in fixing broken things. Every repaired ship was a story, a challenge, and a small victory. He wiped his hands on a worn cloth, examining the intricate wiring of the ship's energy core. Sparks flew from a small tool as he carefully adjusted a loose conduit. It had been a long day, yet Liam worked with the same focus he always had, treating every problem with patience and skill. Outside, the sky was turning a strange shade of violet, signaling the approach of the twin sun set. The harsh light often reflected off the metal roofs, casting long shadows across the dusty ground. A sudden vibration shook the ground, subtle at first but quickly growing stronger. Liam paused, looking up from his work. Through the open workshop doors, he could see a sleek vessel descending from the sky. Unlike anything he had ever seen before, its hull shimmered in silver and blue, glowing faintly as if it carried some energy from within. Unlike the typical freighters that carried cargo or passengers, this ship seemed alive, graceful and delicate, yet built with power in mind. Liam straightened, brushing the sweat from his forehead. "Well, that's new," he muttered to himself. He had repaired hundreds of ships in his life, but he had never seen technology like this. The vessel landed smoothly on the sand, raising a small cloud of dust around its landing gears. A hiss of pressurized air followed as the ramp lowered, and Liam's curiosity turned into cautious anticipation. From the ramp emerged a figure. At first, Liam thought she might be another human, but he quickly realized he was wrong. She was taller than most humans, her skin a soft shade of silver that caught the light of the setting suns. Her eyes were a brilliant, shimmering blue, almost like liquid sapphires, and her hair flowed like a wave of light down her back. She wore armor that reflected the stars themselves, smooth and elegant, shaped to fit her form while radiating a quiet strength. Liam instinctively stepped back, his eyes wide. He had seen images of aliens in holovid reports, but nothing prepared him for someone standing right in front of him. Hello?" he said, his voice a little rough from surprise. The alien woman paused, tilting her head slightly as if studying him. Her voice was melodic but firm. "I need spare parts," she said simply. "For repairs on my vessel." Liam blinked. "Spare parts?" He glanced at the sleek ship behind her. "I might be able to help, but, you're not from around here, are you?" She gave a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "I am from the Andari cluster. This outpost is not my usual stop, but it was the nearest location with a human mechanic. I was told you are capable." The words surprised Liam. Most aliens preferred automated repair stations or their own engineers. "Well, I try my best," he said cautiously. He had never worked with alien technology at this level. The tools he used on human ships might not even touch her vessel properly. Yet he felt a strange determination rising in him. He wanted to understand her ship to see if he could help. Lyra, as he would soon learn her name was, stepped closer. Her eyes scanned the workshop with careful interest. The cluttered tables, the scattered tools, and the humming machine seemed foreign to her. Yet she didn't judge. Instead, there was a calm curiosity, as if she was trying to understand how humans solved problems with simple tools and creativity. "I need the energy conduits repaired," she said, pointing to a section of her ship that glowed faintly. "They are unstable. Without them, the vessel cannot function properly." "Can you do this?" Liam approached slowly, keeping a respectful distance. He examined the ship, his fingers tracing along the smooth metal. "I can try," he said. "It's different from human tech, but I like a challenge." She watched him, her expression neutral but her eyes sharp. "I do not require compliments. I require results," she said. There was no malice in her tone, only straightforward clarity. Liam nodded, understanding that she was serious. For hours, Liam worked. Sparks flew. Small panels clicked into place and wires hummed with energy as he adjusted and repaired. Lyra observed silently, occasionally offering subtle guidance, her hands never touching his tools. Liam noticed how precise she was, how every movement was calculated, almost graceful. He couldn't help but be impressed by her presence, her focus, her composure. and the quiet confidence she radiated. During a brief pause, Liam stepped back to wipe his brow. "You've got some crazy tech," he said with a small laugh. "I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the energy flows are unlike anything human engineers use." Lyra tilted her head. "Human technology is basic, efficient in its own way, but limited. I have traveled far to find someone capable enough to handle what is beyond the ordinary. I chose you." Liam felt a strange warmth in his chest. No alien had ever said anything like that to him. He had always been a simple mechanic living day by day, fixing what needed fixing. To be chosen by a being from across the stars was almost unbelievable. "I'll do my best," he said, trying to keep his voice steady, though excitement laced it. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, the workshop glowed with the faint blue light from Lyra's ship. They worked together in silence, communicating with gestures and brief words, each respecting the other's skills. Liam was amazed by the complexity of her vessel, yet he found joy in the challenge. And Lyra, watching him, felt a flutter she had not expected. His hands were human, capable but rough, yet they moved with care and purpose. She realized that she was drawn not just to his skill, but to the essence of his being. There was a kind of courage in him that transcended the limits of his species. By the time night fully fell, Liam had completed the main repairs. Lyra's ship hummed steadily, glowing brighter as energy flowed smoothly through its conduits. She tested the systems, her expression unreadable at first. Then after a moment she nodded slightly. "You have done well. The vessel is stable." Liam exhaled, leaning against a workbench, feeling a sense of pride he hadn't felt in a long time. "Glad I could help," he said. He stole a quick glance at her, noticing the way her eyes seemed to shimmer in the dim light. Lyra stepped closer, her presence commanding yet gentle. "Your work exceeds my expectations," she said softly, her voice carrying a tone Liam hadn't heard before. There was a hint of admiration, perhaps even something deeper. Liam's heart skipped a beat. For the first time, he realized that this encounter was more than a simple repair job. Something had shifted in the quiet of the workshop, something beyond machines, beyond tools, and as he looked at Lyra, he felt an unfamiliar pull, a curiosity and fascination he could not name. "I hope your journey is safe," Liam said finally, unsure why his voice trembled slightly. Lyra's gaze met his, steady and unwavering. "It will be," she said. Then after a pause she added, "because I have found someone capable who may change the course of my travels." Liam blinked. He didn't fully understand her words, but they carried weight. A strange electric feeling passed between them, a connection neither had anticipated. The repair job had been just the beginning. Outside, the stars began to shine brightly over the frontier outpost. The wind carried the scent of metal, sand, and distant planets. Inside, the workshop was quiet now, except for the faint hum of Lyra's ship. Liam stared at her and she met his gaze. The silence was not empty. It was filled with possibilities, unspoken thoughts, and a budding sense of something neither had expected, the start of a bond that could span galaxies. As night deepened, Liam realized he would never forget this day, the day an alien woman arrived for spare parts, and something far more extraordinary arrived with her. The morning sun rose over the dusty horizon, casting long golden beams across the small human outpost. Liam was already at work, tending to another ship that needed urgent repairs. His hands were still greasy from yesterday's work, and his clothes carried the faint scent of burnt metal and oil. The workshop, cluttered with tools, wires, and mechanical parts, was alive with activity, even though only a handful of humans lived nearby. He was focused on replacing a damaged thruster when a familiar hum echoed through the air. Liam looked up and saw Lyra's sleek ship gliding toward the landing pad. Its hull reflected the sunlight like liquid metal, and the soft blue glow from its energy conduits shimmered as it settled onto the sand. Liam straightened, brushing his hands on a rag. He had been thinking about her since the day she had first arrived. Something about her presence had left an imprint on him, a mixture of curiosity, admiration, and something deeper he couldn't yet name. The ramp lowered, and Lyra stepped out, her silver skin gleaming under the sunlight. Her armor caught the light at every angle, highlighting the delicate but powerful structure of her form. Liam noticed how carefully she moved. Each step measured and precise, yet there was a grace to it that seemed almost effortless. "Good morning." Liam said, trying to sound casual. Back so soon? Lyra's blue eyes scanned the workshop as she approached. The repairs are incomplete. I require additional adjustments to the energy conduits. They remain unstable under prolonged operation. I hoped you would assist me. Liam nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and excitement. Of course. I'll do my best. She watched him for a moment, her gaze assessing. There was no judgment, only quiet attention, as if she was studying not just his skill but the way he thought. Liam could feel her eyes on him, and he caught himself straightening, hoping to appear confident even though his heart beat faster than usual. As he worked, Lyra hovered nearby, occasionally pointing to a section of the ship that required fine-tuning. This module requires calibration, she said. Her voice was calm, melodic, yet firm. Liam adjusted the delicate circuits, carefully following her directions. You handle this better than most alien engineers I've heard of, Lyra remarked quietly, almost to herself. Liam blinked, surprised. You'd think so? He asked. She nodded slightly. I do not offer praise lightly, she said. Human ingenuity is different. It is creative. It is persistent. You have qualities I respect. Liam felt warmth in his chest. He had never received praise like that from anyone, let alone an alien being whose technology surpassed anything he had ever seen. Thanks, he muttered, a small smile tugging at his lips. I like solving problems, even if they're complicated. Lyra tilted her head slightly, studying him. Your dedication. It is unusual. Most humans I have encountered lack the patience for tasks that demand precision. You persist. They worked in silence for long stretches, the quiet broken only by the hum of machines, the clank of metal, and the occasional soft exchange of technical terms. Liam noticed how carefully Lyra observed every movement he made. She never rushed him, never demanded anything outside of reason. Her presence was steady, reassuring, yet it stirred something in him, a fascination that he could not ignore. During a brief pause, Liam leaned against a workbench and wiped his hands. So, do you travel a lot? He asked, curious. I mean, I know you're from the Andari cluster, but how often do you stop at places like this? Lyra's eyes softened slightly. I travel where necessary. My missions take me across systems. I encounter many engineers, but few possess the skill or patience I require. Most are efficient but lack adaptability. You're different. Liam laughed softly. Different, huh? Well, I guess that makes me special then. He didn't mean it as a joke. He genuinely felt honored. Lyra's gaze held him for a moment, and he could swear there was something more in her eyes. Something personal, beyond professional respect. As the day progressed, Liam and Lyra continued the repairs, working side by side. They faced several challenges: conduits that refused to align, energy flows that fluctuated unpredictably, and tiny components that required precise adjustments. Yet every obstacle only strengthened their connection. Liam admired her knowledge, the way she approached problems with logic and elegance. Lyra, in turn, was drawn to his creativity, the way he found solutions no manual could teach, relying on intuition and experience. At one point, a spark from a loose wire flew toward Liam's hand. Lyra's reflexes were instantaneous. She grabbed his wrist gently but firmly, pulling him back before the spark could touch him. Their eyes met, and for a moment the workshop felt smaller, warmer, as if the air itself had shifted. You should be more careful, she said softly. There was no reprimand in her tone, only concern. Liam felt a flutter in his chest, a strange thrill he could not explain. Yeah, thanks, he muttered, trying to regain his composure. The repair work continued well into the afternoon. Liam was impressed by how Lyra observed every detail, offering subtle guidance that pushed him to be more precise. He felt a deepening respect for her, not just as a being from another world, but as someone who understood skill, effort, and persistence. And Lyra, watching him, realized that her admiration for humans, particularly Liam, had grown into something far more personal. By evening, the energy conduits were nearly stable, but a final adjustment was needed. Liam worked with careful focus, his hands steady as he manipulated the alien components. Lyra stood close, watching every movement, offering subtle guidance without taking over. This should do it, Liam said finally, tightening the last module into place. Lyra's eyes gleamed as she tested the system. The ship's glow intensified, and the hum of energy flowed smoothly throughout the vessel. She nodded once, a small, almost imperceptible smile forming on her lips. "You have succeeded," she said. "The vessel is operational." Liam exhaled deeply, leaning against a table. "Glad I could help," he said, stealing a glance at her. I hope your journey is safe." Lyra's gaze met his, steady and intense. "It will be," she said softly. Then she stepped closer, her hand brushing against a control panel. "Because I have found someone whose skill and presence exceed expectations. Someone whose humanity is remarkable." Liam felt his heart skip a beat. He didn't fully understand her words, but their meaning was clear enough. She valued him not just for his ability to repair her ship, but for who he was, and in that realization something shifted within him. He felt a connection forming, one that went beyond work or duty. For the first time, Liam noticed more than her alien features. He noticed the gentle curve of her movements, the way her eyes seemed to reflect the light like stars and the calm strength in her presence. And Lyra, in turn, noticed the steady determination in his hands, the patience in his work, and the quiet courage that guided every choice he made. The workshop fell into a comfortable silence as the sun set completely, leaving the outpost bathed in the soft glow of stars and the hum of the ship. Liam looked at Lyra, and she looked at him. Neither spoke for several moments, but the air between them was charged with an unspoken understanding. They had started as mechanic and client, alien and human, but now something deeper was stirring. Finally, Liam broke the silence. "So what happens now?" he asked, trying to sound casual, though his voice carried a hint of nervousness. Lyra's lips curved into a small, thoughtful smile. "Now I continue my journey. But I will return," she said. "I find your presence comforting, and your skill invaluable. There is much I wish to learn from you, Liam." The human blinked, surprised that she knew his name. "You remember my name?" Lyra's eyes softened. "I do. It is important to remember those who leave an impression. You have left one." For a moment, the workshop felt suspended in time. Liam felt a strange warmth spreading through him, a mixture of pride, curiosity, and something he could not yet name. Lyra turned to her ship, her posture composed and elegant, yet there was a hint of hesitation in her movements. "I will return," she said again, glancing at him one last time before stepping onto the ramp. The ramp rose and the ship hummed softly as it prepared to lift off. Liam watched, heart pounding, as it ascended, leaving a trail of blue light across the darkening sky. As the stars shone overhead, Liam returned to his workbench, hands still slightly trembling from the encounter. Something had changed. The day an alien woman came to get spare parts had become the day his world widened beyond imagination. He didn't yet know what the future held, but he felt certain that Lyra's presence had marked the beginning of something extraordinary. And somewhere across the stars, Lyra watched the tiny outpost shrink beneath her, thinking of the human mechanic who had captured her attention and perhaps her heart. The stars glittered over the outpost, casting faint reflections on the metallic roofs and the scattered machinery below. Liam was finishing up minor repairs on a human freighter when the familiar hum of Lyra's ship echoed through the quiet night. He looked up just in time to see her vessel descending smoothly onto the landing pad. The blue glow from the energy conduit shimmered in the darkness, giving her ship an almost magical presence. Lyra stepped out, her silver skin glinting under the soft starlight. She walked with her usual grace, each movement deliberate and calm, yet there was urgency in her pace. Liam noticed it immediately. "Lyra?" he asked, raising his voice over the hum of the workshop. "Is everything okay?" She turned to him, her brilliant blue eyes serious. "There is a problem," she said simply. "My ship was being tracked. Raiders from the Zorath sector are seeking the technology I carry. They do not wish to negotiate. They intend to take it by force." Liam's heart skipped a beat. "Raiders here?" He glanced around the outpost. Though remote, it was usually quiet and uneventful. "We need to get your ship hidden or protected." Lyra's gaze softened slightly, appreciating his concern. "I feared this might happen. I did not anticipate encountering humans capable enough to assist me. But now, I must rely on you." Liam swallowed, feeling both fear and a strange excitement. Okay. We'll do it. Together." They moved quickly. Liam grabbed tools and spare parts while Lyra accessed her ship's systems, revealing complex mechanisms that even he could barely comprehend. Despite the tension, Liam noticed the same calm confidence in her movements that had drawn him to her. There was no panic, only careful planning. "You understand what needs to be done?" she asked, her voice firm but gentle. "I think so," Liam replied. "We'll need to reinforce the hull and adjust the energy shields to create a temporary cloaking effect." "That should buy us time," Lyra nodded. "Begin immediately." For hours they worked side by side in tense silence. Sparks flew as Liam adjusted alien components and the hum of energy filled the workshop. Lyra provided guidance when needed, but she allowed him to make decisions, showing trust that surprised him. He realized that she valued his skill, and that trust made him feel both important and protective. Suddenly the ground trembled slightly as distant engines roared in the night. Liam's heart raced. "They're coming," he muttered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Stay calm. Follow my instructions." The raiders were fast approaching, sleek ships glinting under the stars. Liam watched them on Lyra's ship monitor. They were armed, dangerous, and numerous. The outpost could not withstand a full attack. "We need to act now," he said. Lyra agreed. "Activate the shield reinforcements. Use the decoys. I will handle the main systems." They moved quickly. Liam set up mechanical traps and decoy drones while Lyra manipulated the ship's energy fields to mislead the attackers. Sparks and blue light mixed in the dark workshop, illuminating their faces. Every glance they shared carried unspoken understanding. They were no longer just mechanic and client. They were partners in a dangerous mission. A sudden alarm blared from Lyra's ship. One of the raiders had bypassed the decoys and was heading straight for the workshop. Liam grabbed a nearby tool, ready to defend the area, but Lyra placed a hand gently on his arm. "I have this," she said calmly. Her hand was warm, reassuring, and Liam felt an unusual surge of courage. He nodded and focused on the shields and traps, trusting her. Together they coordinated every move. The raider ships veered off course, misled by decoys, and sparks flew as Liam triggered a series of clever traps, causing the enemy vessels to collide and lose formation. Even as danger surrounded them, there was an unspoken connection between Liam and Lyra. Every glance, every gesture, every coordinated action deepened their bond. He realized he was not just protecting a client or a ship. He was protecting someone he admired, someone he felt drawn to in ways he had not yet fully understood. At one point, a raider managed to break through the defenses, firing a pulse that struck the workshop door. Liam reacted instinctively, rushing to the console to adjust the shield output. Lyra, noticing the strain, stepped beside him. "Careful," she said softly, her hand briefly brushing his. The touch sent a thrill through him, but he didn't flinch. Together they stabilized the system, and the raider was forced to retreat. When the last ship disappeared into the darkness, Liam exhaled deeply. "That was close," he said, his voice a mixture of relief and disbelief. Lyra turned to him, her eyes reflecting a rare emotion, gratitude mixed with something deeper. "You risked yourself," she said. "For me, that is unusual. For a human. For anyone." Liam shrugged, though his heart was still racing. "I couldn't just stand by. You trusted me, and I didn't want to fail." Her gaze softened even further. "You did not fail. You were remarkable." Liam felt warmth flood his chest. He had been praised before, but never like this. And never by someone from another world. Someone whose very presence seemed to illuminate the room. "Thanks," he muttered, trying to keep his voice steady. They stood in silence for a moment, the hum of the ship and the distant stars filling the air. Liam realized that the danger had changed something between them. Fear had brought them closer, and the trust they had shared had opened a door neither of them expected. "Your ship is stable now," Liam said finally, stepping back. "The raiders won't find it easily." Lyra nodded. "It is more than stable. It is protected, thanks to you." She paused, her gaze meeting his. "I did not anticipate feeling this way about a human, yet I find my thoughts returning to you." Liam's breath caught. "You feel that too?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She inclined her head slightly. "I do. Your skill, your courage, your patience. You are unlike any human I have known. And now, after this shared experience, I realize there is more than admiration. Something personal." Liam felt a thrill he could barely contain. He had admired her from the start, the grace, the confidence, the intelligence, but now he understood the depth of his own feelings. He wanted to protect her, to be near her, to share in her journeys. and from the way her eyes held his, he could sense she felt the same. The night deepened, and the outpost lay quiet once more. Liam and Lyra worked together to finalize the last adjustments on her ship, their hands occasionally brushing as they passed tools or adjusted components. Each touch carried a weight neither had felt before. The hum of energy filled the workshop, a quiet symphony that seemed to celebrate their teamwork and connection. When the work was complete, Lyra stepped back, her posture elegant, yet her eyes held a rare softness. "You have done more than repair my ship tonight. You have proven your character, your bravery, your dedication. I am impressed beyond measure." Liam smiled a little awkwardly. "Well, I had a good teacher," he said, nodding toward her. She tilted her head, a faint smile forming. "Perhaps, but I believe you were always capable. You simply needed the right challenge to reveal it." For a long moment, they simply stood together, watching the stars twinkle above. Liam realized that the danger had been a test, not just of skill, but of heart. And in that test, he had discovered something extraordinary. He felt a connection with Lyra that went beyond words, beyond worlds, beyond species. Finally, Lyra spoke, her voice soft but steady. "I must continue my journey soon, but I will return. There is more I wish to learn. About this universe and about you, Liam." Liam nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "I'll be here," he said, "waiting, if that's okay." Her eyes softened, and for the first time, Liam saw a trace of emotion he could not name. Something that was not duty, not obligation, but genuine feeling. "It is more than okay," she said quietly. "It is something I look forward to." As Lyra's ship lifted off into the night sky, leaving a trail of soft blue light, Liam returned to his workbench. The adrenaline had faded, leaving behind a warm, quiet excitement. He knew that this was only the beginning. The day had started as a simple repair job, had turned into a dangerous mission, and had revealed something neither of them expected: trust, respect, and the first true sparks of connection. Somewhere across the stars, Lyra looked back at the outpost, thinking of the human mechanic whose courage and skill had not only saved her ship, but had touched her in ways she had not anticipated. And Liam, staring at the dark horizon, felt certain that his life had changed forever. The universe was vast and uncertain, but in that quiet workshop amid machines and stars, a bond had formed, one that promised adventures, challenges, and perhaps something even more extraordinary. The twin suns had begun their slow descent, painting the horizon with shades of gold and crimson. The outpost was quiet now, the usual bustle of travelers long gone. Liam stood in his workshop, hands still streaked with grease, but his mind was elsewhere. Lyra's ship had remained docked for several days while final calibrations and minor upgrades were completed. Each day she stayed, the more Liam found himself noticing things about her, small gestures, the way her eyes lingered on him when she thought he wasn't looking, the quiet moments when she seemed lost in thought. Lyra moved gracefully through the workshop, carrying components and adjusting the ship's systems. Her presence filled the room in a way Liam had never experienced before. He watched her for a moment, marveling at the elegance of her movements, the quiet strength in every action. There was a light in her eyes, a reflection of the stars themselves, and he found himself drawn to it more than he cared to admit. "You've been quiet today," Lyra said suddenly, her voice calm yet attentive. Liam blinked, realizing he had been staring. I was thinking," he stammered, trying to sound casual, "about the repairs, about you, I guess." Lyra tilted her head slightly, curiosity evident in her piercing blue eyes. "Me? Why would my presence occupy your thoughts so?" Liam shrugged, though his heart pounded. "I don't know. You're different. I've met a lot of travelers, a lot of aliens, but you're not like the rest. You're impressive, brave, and smart." He looked away, feeling awkward under her gaze. Lyra stepped closer, her gaze softening. "You speak with honesty. I appreciate that." There was a pause, filled only by the hum of the workshop and the soft buzz of machinery. "You are also different, Liam. Humans often rely on strength alone or brute ingenuity. You combine skill, patience, and something else. Something rare." Liam felt a warmth spreading through him, a mixture of pride and something he could not name. "Thanks," he said simply, though his voice carried more than gratitude. He wanted to tell her more. to confess the strange feelings stirring in his chest. But the words seemed too large, too impossible to say. Lyra moved to a nearby console, her fingers dancing across alien controls with effortless precision. "The conduits are stable," she said, breaking the silence. "But there are still adjustments needed to optimize performance. Will you assist me?" "Of course," Liam replied, stepping closer. Together they worked on the intricate systems, their hands occasionally brushing as they passed tools or adjusted delicate wiring. Each touch sent a spark through Liam, a thrill that left him both excited and nervous. And each time their eyes met, he saw a hint of the same feeling reflected in her gaze. Hours passed in a rhythm of work and quiet conversation. Liam found himself laughing more than usual, sharing stories of his life on the frontier, of human ingenuity and strange repairs he had made. Lyra listened, sometimes offering small remarks or asking questions, her attention fully on him. She revealed stories of her travels, of distant planets and the challenges she had faced navigating unfamiliar worlds. Through these exchanges, their connection deepened, the barriers of species and culture slowly dissolving. As the night settled in, the twin suns had disappeared completely, leaving the outpost bathed in the gentle glow of stars and Lyra's ship. Liam leaned against a workbench, watching her adjust a delicate energy panel. "You know," he said, breaking the silence, "I never expected meeting an alien to change my life like this." Lyra paused, her hand resting on the console, and her eyes met his. There was a softness there, a vulnerability rarely shown. "I did not anticipate feeling this way about a human," she admitted quietly. "Yet every moment with you reveals qualities I did not expect. Your courage, your patience, your heart." Liam's chest tightened. He had felt drawn to her since the first day she arrived, but hearing her voice, her words, it left him breathless. "I feel the same," he said finally, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I've never met anyone like you, Lyra, and I don't want you to leave." For a long moment, neither spoke. The hum of the ship and the twinkling stars were the only sounds in the quiet workshop. Then Lyra stepped closer, her presence commanding yet gentle. "I did not expect connection," she said softly. "But I sense it now. Between us." Liam swallowed, his heart pounding in his chest. "Connection?" he echoed. "You mean us?" Her eyes met his fully, and in them he saw the truth he had been hoping for. "Yes, us," she said simply. "I have traveled across many systems, met countless beings, but never have I felt this, until now." The words hung in the air, weighty and undeniable. Liam felt a rush of emotions, excitement, relief, and a profound sense of joy. "I feel it too," he whispered. "I don't know what it means yet or where it will go, but I know I don't want it to end." Lyra reached out slowly, her hand hovering near his. Liam felt a thrill, his body tense with anticipation. When their hands finally touched, it was gentle, almost tentative, yet full of meaning. There was a warmth in her touch, a connection that neither of them could deny. For hours they stood together, speaking softly, sharing thoughts and dreams, fears and hopes. Liam realized that Lyra was not just a visitor or a client. She was someone who had changed the way he saw his world. And Lyra, in turn, understood that Liam was not just a mechanic. He was a human with courage, skill, and a heart that could bridge the vast distances between their worlds. As midnight approached, Lyra stepped back, her hand still lingering near his. "I must continue my journey soon," she said quietly, though her tone held a hint of reluctance. "But I wish to return. There is more I wish to explore. With you." Liam nodded, understanding the depth of her words. "I'll be here," he said softly, "waiting, and I hope you come back soon." Her eyes softened, reflecting a rare vulnerability. "I will," she promised. "And when I do, I hope we can explore more than just repairs and machinery. I hope we can explore us." The workshop fell silent except for the hum of Lyra's ship and the gentle creak of the metal walls. Liam felt a sense of peace he had never known before. The connection they had formed was real, undeniable, and it filled him with hope and excitement for what was to come. For the first time, Liam allowed himself to imagine a future beyond the outpost, beyond the quiet life of repairs and machines. He imagined traveling the stars with Lyra, learning from her, sharing experiences, and facing challenges together. And somewhere in the depths of his heart, he knew that Lyra felt the same way. They spent the rest of the night finishing minor repairs, their hands occasionally brushing, their eyes meeting with quiet understanding. Every touch, every shared glance deepened the bond forming between them. By the time the first rays of the twin suns crept over the horizon, they had completed the final adjustments. Lyra turned to Liam, her expression a mixture of pride and something more personal. Your skill, your dedication, your heart. They are exceptional, she said softly. I am glad you are here, Liam, more than you realize. Liam smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. I'm glad too, he replied. You make even the hardest work feel different, better. She inclined her head, her blue eyes shining with a mix of emotions. Perhaps this is the beginning of something new, something neither of us expected. Liam nodded, his heart full. Yes, he agreed. Something new. And I think I'm ready for it. As Lyra prepared to rest before her next journey, they shared a quiet moment standing side by side, watching the outpost bathed in the first light of day. The hum of her ship and the soft glow of energy conduits filled the space, a silent promise of adventures yet to come. Somewhere across the universe, challenges awaited them both. But in that small workshop, amid tools, machines, and starlight, a bond had been solidified, a bond built on trust, courage, respect, and the first hints of love. For Liam and Lyra, the universe was no longer just a collection of distant worlds and endless dangers. It had become a place of possibility, of connection, and of the extraordinary potential that arises when two hearts meet across the stars. And as the twin suns rose, signaling a new day, both Liam and Lyra understood that their story was only beginning. The twin suns were high in the sky, casting a warm golden light over the small outpost. Liam moved about the workshop with purpose, completing last-minute checks and preparing Lyra's ship for departure. The quiet hum of machinery and the scent of oil filled the air, but Liam's thoughts were entirely elsewhere. Today would mark a turning point, one he had anticipated and dreaded yet secretly hoped for. Lyra's presence was a constant comfort, her silver skin shimmering faintly in the sunlight. She moved gracefully, tending to the energy conduits one last time, her hands delicate but precise. Liam watched her, feeling a mixture of admiration, nervousness, and something deeper, a longing he could no longer deny. He realized fully now that he did not want this moment to end, that he wanted to be with her, to share in the adventures that awaited among the stars. You're ready, Liam said finally, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his chest. Lyra turned to him, her brilliant blue eyes meeting his. I am, she said calmly, though Liam detected a subtle emotion beneath the surface, anticipation, and perhaps a hint of reluctance at leaving the outpost behind. He stepped closer, brushing a hand across a panel as if that would give him courage. Lyra, I don't want this to be just another mission for you, he said. I want to go with you. I want to see the stars, the planets, everything you've seen. I want to be with you. For a moment, Lyra said nothing, her gaze steady and unflinching. Then a faint smile appeared on her lips, softening the stern lines of her face. Liam, she said, her voice gentle, you have proven your skill, your courage, and your heart. I did not expect to feel this, yet I cannot deny it. I, too, wish for your company, to share journeys and discoveries, to face the universe together. A surge of joy and relief filled Liam. Then, we'll go together, he said, a wide smile spreading across his face. No more waiting. No more wondering. We face it together. Lyra nodded, her own smile brightening. Yes, together. The next hours passed in a flurry of preparations. Liam double-checked tools, secured spare parts, and ensured the ship's systems were fully operational. Lyra coordinated energy flows and reinforced shields, her movements precise and elegant. Their teamwork was seamless, each anticipating the other's actions, each gesture reflecting a deepening trust and connection. Occasionally, their hands brushed while passing components, sending sparks of electricity or perhaps something more subtle through both of them. Finally, all was ready. Lyra stepped back, her posture composed but her eyes holding warmth. Everything is prepared, she said. We depart now. Liam felt a thrill in his chest. I'm ready, he said firmly, though he felt his pulse quicken. He had been ready for this, yet the reality of leaving the outpost, leaving his home, was suddenly very real. But with Lyra by his side, the fear felt manageable, almost exciting. Together they climbed the ramp of Lyra's ship. The interior was sleek, humming softly with energy, and Liam marveled at the alien design. Every surface was polished, every control intuitive yet utterly different from anything he had seen. Lyra guided him through the systems, explaining their function and purpose, her voice calm and patient. Liam listened intently, absorbing every word, feeling more connected to her and her world with each passing moment. As the ship's engines began to hum, signaling readiness for launch, Liam glanced at Lyra. "So, this is it," he said, a mix of excitement and awe in his voice. "Yes," Lyra replied softly. "Our journey begins now." The ramp lifted and the ship rose smoothly from the outpost. Liam pressed himself against the railing of the cockpit, watching the familiar landscape shrink beneath them. The desert, the scattered buildings, the workshop where he had spent countless hours, it all became smaller, a memory etched in his mind. Lyra's hand found his, gentle yet firm. "Do not fear," she said, her voice carrying quiet reassurance. "The universe is vast, but together we can face anything." Liam felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of purpose and belonging he had never known. "I'm not afraid," he said, squeezing her hand. "As long as we're together." Their ship soared through the atmosphere, breaking into the starry expanse above. The stars were brighter than Liam had ever seen, each one a potential world, a potential adventure. Lyra guided the ship with precision, weaving between asteroids and navigating through stellar currents. Liam marveled at her skill, at the confidence and grace with which she moved through the cosmos. As they traveled, they shared stories and laughter. Liam recounted tales of human ingenuity, of frontier outposts and strange inventions. Lyra shared experiences of distant planets, alien civilizations, and challenges she had faced navigating unfamiliar worlds. With each story, each shared moment, their bond deepened, the connection that had begun in a dusty workshop now flourishing among the stars. One evening, as they drifted near a cluster of vibrant gas planets, Lyra paused at the observation window. The swirling colors reflected in her eyes, and she turned to Liam. "I never expected to feel this way," she said quietly. "But you have changed everything. You have shown me patience, courage, and a heart that is extraordinary. I care for you, Liam." Liam felt his chest swell with emotion. "I care for you too, Lyra," he said, stepping closer. "More than I ever thought possible. I've never felt this before, and I don't want to let it go." Their hands found each other again, and this time there was no hesitation. The connection they shared, built over days of work, danger, and quiet moments, now became undeniable. Liam felt a sense of completion, as if the universe itself had aligned to bring them together. Days passed as they traveled through new systems, each world more wondrous than the last. Liam learned to navigate alien technology, to understand the nuances of interstellar travel, and to anticipate challenges that arose on the way. Lyra taught him with patience and care, guiding him as they worked side by side, their bond growing stronger with every obstacle they faced. They discovered planets with skies of lavender and seas of crystal, met civilizations that communicated through light and sound, and faced natural phenomena that tested both skill and courage. Yet through it all, their connection remained constant, a source of comfort and strength. Liam found that he no longer feared the unknown, for with Lyra by his side, every challenge became an opportunity for discovery. One evening, as they floated near a ringed planet with shimmering ice fields, Lyra turned to Liam. "Do you realize," she said softly, "that we have traveled farther than most beings ever do in their lifetime, and yet we are only beginning?" Liam smiled, taking her hand in his. "I realize," he said, "and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else with anyone else. All of this, is better because we're together." Lyra's eyes shone, and for the first time she allowed herself a small laugh, light and musical.
"Yes," she agreed.
"Together." As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Liam and Lyra knew that their journey had only just begun. The universe was vast and filled with unknown dangers and wonders, but they would face it side by side. Every challenge would be met with courage, every discovery shared with joy, and every moment together cherished. In that vast expanse of stars, Liam understood something profound. The greatest adventure was not in the planets or the galaxies, but in the connection he shared with Lyra, and Lyra, in turn, realized that the human mechanic she had met for spare parts had become her partner, her equal, and her heart's companion. As their ship glided through the cosmos, leaving trails of light in its wake, Liam and Lyra stood side by side, hands clasped, eyes fixed on the stars ahead. The universe stretched infinitely before them, full of mysteries and possibilities. And together, they would explore it all, guided by trust, respect, and the undeniable bond that had grown between a human mechanic and an alien traveler. The stars sparkled, distant suns beckoned, and the endless horizon promised adventures that neither had ever imagined. Yet no matter how vast the universe, they had found in each other a home, a connection, and a love that transcended worlds. And as they soared among the stars, Liam knew with a certainty that filled his soul that this was where he belonged, by Lyra's side, exploring the universe, facing the unknown, and embracing a future that was bright, boundless, and shared together.